guys, I'm Suman from Phone Stein, and this here is the OnePlus 5. And now from the title you would have guessed this is definitely the long-term review. Why do it so late? The only reason for me doing this review so late is because I wanted to test how well the OnePlus 5, or I'd say in fact any device, will stand in the long run. Because my viewers, my friends out there want their phone to be working in perfect condition for a very long time, and testing a smartphone like this is the best way to prove that. Now this video is not going to be the basic style review where I'll be going over the specs, the design, blah blah blah, but there are only 4 things that I'm going to be talking. Durability, that is how well the phone has stood up, including the design, the advantages, disadvantages. Second one, I'll be talking about the performance. That will also include the camera performance. Third one, I'll be talking about the battery life, which is definitely important. And fourth, there'll be few miscellaneous stuff like the call quality, speaker quality and stuff like that. And from this you will understand how well this smartphone has stood up for me till now. It's been around 4 months approximately, and without wasting any time, let's see if this smartphone is worth buying. The OnePlus 5 got a lot of hatred signs for being similar to the iPhone 7 Plus, but I personally say that there's nothing wrong in that, because after that the design is even more slim. So this is more slim than your OnePlus 3, OnePlus 2, and it feels really good in the hand. So taking few hints from other companies, I think it's something called as a healthy competition. But there are even few disadvantages of this. Since this is metal, it is really slippery. There's no textured back for a perfect grip on your hand, and I suggest you guys to go with a case or a skin, whichever you're comfortable with, or else you will end up dropping it. And talking about drops, I've dropped this once. Yes, once. That is from this height. I'm about 5'9", and a drop from this height didn't do any damage. It fell screen face down, but still this phone was able to survive that fall. There's no dents or any stuff. Everything is perfect. So in terms of durability, this phone is pretty good. There's no bend issues or stuff like that. And if you want to see how well this will stand up to tortures, just check out Jerry Riggs' Everything video where he will be ripping apart this bad boy here. But anyways, in terms of durability, this phone is really impressive. But one suggestion is that please put on a case or a skin, because this is really slippery. Now moving on to the performance. This smartphone flies through everything. With the Snapdragon 835, 6 gigs of RAM, and yes, this is the 6 gig variant. With 6 gigs of RAM, this smartphone can achieve anything you possibly throw at it. Be it you're playing multiple games at the same time, doing some Word documents, something like this, you will definitely not feel any lag. And even though the hardware is really good, sometimes softwares mess up stuff. And I think OnePlus with the Oxygen OS, which is kind of near stock Android, has made sure that the OnePlus 5 is lag free, and kudos to OnePlus for making that happen. Oxygen OS is really clean, yes, really clean, with one or few OnePlus tweaks here and there, which is definitely useful and not gimmicky stuff like Bixby. Talking about few useful features, you have the screenshot where you have that ability to infinitely scroll down the entire page that you are viewing, and only when you click it will stop. Now that is useful in case you want to take a picture, or that is screenshot of something very long. So few features like that are really useful on the OnePlus 5. And again, software updates have been coming regularly. If I'm not wrong, I've got 2 updates till now, and that has not hit anything. And since OnePlus is a consumer oriented company, like they have consumers in mind, whatever drawbacks that you say, they fix it immediately. Now again, a huge shout out to OnePlus for making such good consumer relationship happen. And just in case, for all those game freaks, you can play any game at this at the max resolution. This is not PC, but anyways, you can throw in any game and this will handle it just fine. And you might ask, will this heat up? Definitely not. I have not not at all experience any sort of heating from the OnePlus 5. Even if it is while playing games or while it is getting charged, I haven't experienced any sort of heating, and that is again a huge plus for the OnePlus 5. Now talking about the cameras, 16, 20. Two amazing cameras, but not the best in the world, but still for what you're paying, these will take really amazing shots. So let me talk about the primary camera. The 16 megapixel camera is really good. It has really good focus. I mean, the autofocus is quick. The pictures taken are sharp. It has very good detail in it, good dynamic range. But while you're using this in low light, it tends to produce a lot of noise. Even though the aperture size is large, I don't know, there is some hardware problem with the OnePlus 5, making it really impossible to take low light shots. I've tried many shots and sadly they don't turn out to be as expected, like as good. You can definitely see grains, and in low light the detail is not captured really well. But other than that, even in some artificial light, or rather say in outdoor lighting, the pictures come out really well. And talking about the second, macro lens, this also does a great job, but not as great. Yes, it has 20 megapixels and OnePlus included that just to compensate for the lack of resolution loss. In case you're in a really bright lit area, this will work really fine with very good details picked up, but it is not going to be as sharp and detailed as your primary camera. But nothing wrong, again, this is the first generation where this dual lens system has come, so I'm sure in future this will be updated with amazing lenses soon. Talking about the front facing camera, this camera is really good, especially for you selfie lovers. And again, a huge mention to portrait mode on the rear cameras, and they are not as good as your iPhone portrait shots, but they do a pretty good job. Like if your image is still, like you have a perfect clean shot that you're taking, then the shots turn out good. And sometimes if it is some image where you're lightly shaking or something like that, then there you can see a little bit of haziness towards the outer line of the subject. Now talking about battery life, this phone really rocks in terms of battery life. This is not some smartphone with crazy ass battery like a 4000-5000 mAh battery, but with the 3300 mAh battery, this smartphone rocks. Yes, and there are two main reasons for this. Number one is that AMOLED display. That freaking gorgeous AMOLED display which doesn't light up black pixels, making it even more efficient, and especially if you have the dark theme on, it is going to be helpful a lot. And number two is Oxygen OS, and combined with Android Nougat, this smartphone definitely doesn't drain your battery. You will get a full day of usage from this sucker here. The standby time is really good on this smartphone, where you'll probably lose around 1 to 2% of your battery life if this phone is not turned on. And again, considering if you're going on long journeys, this will be helpful. Now in terms of battery life, I can give this a wholehearted 8.5 or 9, and that is really impressive. Now talking about all the other stuff like your speakers, so let me start with that. These are one of the loudest speakers I've ever used on a OnePlus device. They get really loud. They have not the best bass, but bass is present and they are evident when compared to the OnePlus 3T, which had somewhat a little subtle bass. And that is really good. And the sound doesn't get distorted even at the max volume when you're playing a video or something like that. But I wish it could have been a dual speaker system, maybe like one speaker from your earpiece and this as it is. It would have given an even more immersive effect, but sadly OnePlus didn't go that route, and I hope the next generation of smartphones from OnePlus will have that. And again, I didn't talk a lot about the display, because you know this display is one of the best. Yes, this is not for 2K display, but still with the 1080p resolution and the AMOLED screen, this phone definitely rocks. And this is again one reason why the battery life is really good on the OnePlus 5. Now again, if you are a regular YouTube user or you watch movies on this, you will not be disappointed, as the images, if you put some 1080p footage, it is going to be crispy. Even 4K plays fine on the OnePlus 5. And talking about the last one, yes, it definitely has dash charging. You have NFC, none of them have gone, and that is definitely to stay. So really happy about that. But one sad thing is that you don't have wireless charging, and I hope OnePlus will put that in their next generation of smartphones again. The only reason I was emphasizing on the wireless charging is because there are so-called tech freaks who are like, there's wireless charging on this phone, that phone, but not on the OnePlus 5, and so this sucks. But that is not true. OnePlus knows what we use on a day-to-day basis, and I'm sure wireless charging isn't one of those. When that becomes mainstream, I'm sure OnePlus will implement that. So let us wait and watch. Now, whatever I talked was about my experience using the OnePlus 5, and this device has definitely wowed me. It's an amazing smartphone for what you're paying, and talking about paying, you are paying only 33,000 for this, and a similarly spec'd smartphone will cost you around 50,000 or more from companies like Samsung and HTC. Considering that, in terms of price to performance, I think this smartphone is really good. So performance wise, this is an absolute beast. And with stock Android, this is going to give you the best experience possible. It has one of the best cameras, not the best camera, but one of the best. Nothing wrong with that. You have a very good front-facing camera. You have amazing speakers. You have a fingerprint sensor which works lightning quick. So that is a huge plus for the OnePlus team. And yes, there are a few minor issues, and I wish the display could have been a little more bigger, like the infinity displays. Yes, it is 2017, I hope, and I wish that could have been implemented. It would have made the phone look even more badass. But anyways, these issues I'm sure will be fixed or implemented in the next generation of the OnePlus devices, and I am absolutely sure about that. We have to wait and see what OnePlus have in mind for their next series of smartphones. Until then, the OnePlus 5 is the best bet to go. And who should buy this phone? If you want amazing out of the world specs like the fastest processor, the maximum RAM, the best graphics, definitely go with this, because you need not spend 50-60,000 on some other smartphone, whereas this smartphone will give you all the pleasure that you need. But anyways, jokes aside, this is one of the best smartphones I've used, and in the long run this will serve really well, and you will also get updates for up to 2 years if I'm not wrong again. So let me just clarify, and I'll let you know that in the description down below. But anyways, amazing smartphone. If you want a high-end beast without spending a lot of money, definitely go with the OnePlus 5. And thanks for watching, and this is Suman signing off once again. Catch you later.